Yeah.
Dill, I do want to point out something, just a minute detail that only someone with a drinking problem would notice.
Okay.
So they had one bottle of Champs, right?
Yeah.
There were 7 glasses. They were filled halfway.
Mm-hmm.
I happen to know,
Yeah.
because I aforementioned drinking problem
Yeah.
for a number of years,
Yeah.
that a single bottle of Champs wouldn't nearly cover that much glass real estate.
Yeah, and you really bite down on the C and the H when you say that, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Welcome aboard another brand new season of another Below Deck podcast. My name is Dylan. I'm saddled up next to one Patty.
Permission to come aboard.
What's up, baby?
Oh, I'm excited to start a new season. Dylan.
Yeah, very excited.
First day of school.
First day of school. We've got our tripper keepers. We've got our dividers.
Hey, who am I going to bully this year?
Or who's going to bully me this year? You know, the little ringlets in the binder.
Oh, they cut you sometimes.
They
get
cut
loose.
They get loose, and then as the school year goes along, they kind of fray. They lose their tension. You know, assignments get a little torn up, and that's what happens at about 14, 15, right? Where we go, you know, okay, so why are we still, learning about the Revolutionary War metaphor? Why are we still? You get what I mean?
Yeah.
But right now it's first day of school. Okay, so it's a lot of fun.
You got to show up with your, you use the shopping bags, the
Yeah.
paper bags, which grocery stores don't allow us anymore. Good luck wrapping your school book
Right.
with a grocery bag now.
Yeah, exactly. And also, that bitch Mrs. Goodsight in 5th grade, I don't know if I've told this story before, and we'll get into the show. I asked, I was in 5th grade, we were learning about the Revolutionary War. I can't believe, this is such a core memory, man. I asked this bitch Miss Goodsight, just full of bile, this woman, made of nothing but humors. She was so rude to me. You know, I used to go, look at this Calvin and Hobbes thing. And she would kind of chuckle at it and tell me to go away. But we were learning about the Revolutionary War, and I asked, why did the British wear red? And she laughed at me, welcoming in the chorus of
judgment
and laughter at my expense from the rest of the class. This was a woman who was 50, 60 years old. I mean, she was past her navel pretty much everywhere. And how dare you ruin a small child's day like that?
I had the same thing happen to me in the 4th grade, Dylan. I'd fallen asleep because I'd stay up till midnight watching television. I didn't have parents to raise me, so I was like a wild animal.
Right.
So I'd sleep through the first 3 periods. Anyway, I woke up, we were talking about the American Eagle. And I raised my hand mid-class.
Yeah.
I don't know why I was trying to pretend I was paying attention or something. And I said, why is the eagle bald?
Yeah.
When it's not bald.
Yeah, and that's a great question.
And Miss Conrad said, well, if you were listening, I answered that question 5 minutes ago.
I mean,
and at the scorn.
The scorn. So none of that's going to happen, okay? Because
Not
we're
this
first day school,
That's
okay?
right.
And the British wore wet red so you couldn't see them bleed, obviously. You know, it's a really cool answer.
Easier to aim at, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know, Marion, what's his name? Marion, you know, the Mel Gibson played him, the ghost.
Oh, I forget his name.
Well, he was a real guy, and he ushered in guerrilla warfare. But this is not 5th grade history. This is Below Deck. We have public service announcements to announce this week. Coming to the Bad TV feed will be our inaugural. There's no better first day of school than a first day of school at Flavor Flav's house, okay? It's season 3 of Flavor of Love. Who's going to shit on the floor this season? Who's going to be berated for being an adult film actress in front of everybody this season? Join us on the Bad TV feed.
I've watched the first episode, Dylan, and I have to tell you, well, the first episode did not have someone shitting on the floor.
Yeah.
Or a woman beating the shit out of a skinny white chick.
Oh, that was fun.
Yeah, that all happened in the first episode of season 2.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen in episode 1 of season 3, but it's still an amazing episode, and I can't wait to recap it for our Bad TV audience.
Yeah, and if you want to hear our breakdown of Flav season 1 and season 2, and Pat was speaking of the fight between Safari from Crenshaw and some white bitch. and then a woman.
She beat the shit out of him.
Now then a woman named something, and that was her Flav name. It wasn't her real name. Because human beings aren't named something or Mr. Magoo. We'll get into that.
Oh, Dill, this season 3, there's a girlie named The.
Oh.
And there's twin sisters. He couldn't come up with names, so he just called them Thing 1 and Thing 2.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. So, but it's often slept on. I mean, think about that. One of the great premiere episodes of any reality television show, you can hear it at patreon.com/another podcast network. Donate a little or a little bit more. All right. So Below Deck, we are here to talk about it. Do we have to talk about Tropical Smoothie Cafe
We do.
tonight?
I'll grab that copy in a minute.
So ad-free episodes, patreon.com/another podcast network. Okay. We have a new season. It's season 9. Go ahead and give your pumps.
Okay. I like the casting. How about that goddamn provisioner?
I mean, I don't know what I would do. I would be filled with so much vitriol and violent emotion that I might just jump off the boat and go find whoever's in charge of this and strangle him.
Yeah.
Like a Looney Tunes kind of strangling, you know?
I think that guy on the other end of that phone, I think that might have been a voiceover artist.
Yeah, I one time, he reminded me of the Switchboard people. You know, it was, the Jerky Boys.
Of course.
So there used to be these E-Bomb World kind of soundboards that you could download. You'd push a button and Arnold Schwarzenegger would say, one of the 50 things assigned to him. And, I got a telemarketer call some time ago about some amazing opportunity. No, you know what it was? We'll get to the show. I got a piece of correspondence in the mail with harsh red lettering. Now, usually that means I didn't pay a bill, but I haven't done that since I was in my 20s. So I open this bill. It's announcing that I've won something big, and then I have to call. So I do call, and I record it. It's another podcast show. You can find it at patreon.com. I call, and I'm talking to this man about the contest, and I quickly realize that this is a man just hitting buttons on a switchboard. So I ask the guy what his favorite movie is.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, and he didn't have an answer to that one. He hung up the phone real quick, but that's what the provisioner was like.
That's what he sounded like.
All
right, so that was a real fun part of the episode. Very frustrating. I also, this chef guy, Jono, is that his name, Jono?
I mean, is this guy 007 or what? I mean, the guy has a calm unflappability like a Navy SEAL.
Yeah, I've never heard a chef tell a stew to go fuck off twice.
I loved it.
To cook food.
Loved it.
I don't know how I feel about it, but I'm going to make a call here. And Old Patty doesn't generally make calls with his crystal ball. I'm going to say this guy doesn't last till episode 5.
When you hear I'm an architect, and I hopped on a boat because they needed somebody to make Hot Pockets.
We got screwed over by
days.
one of his accounts, and next thing you know, he's cooking food on a boat.
Usually that is a sign of somebody who's doomed to fail. But I think, Wash Rind Brie is going to go down very, very quickly. The fact that they have thrust this thing onto Asia in the first episode with a leaky roof, I mean, I'm getting ahead of myself.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, anyway, I have a lot of high hopes for the season.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it a solid first showing. I'll give it 50 dots.
I thought it was an amazing episode because what makes Below Deck really sing is when they cannot succeed. Right? That's what makes it sing. It's why people watch Family Feud, right? There's no way you could possibly come up with this answer. Worst thing to do on a date, rob somebody. No one would ever say that. So you tune in because there's no chance that they're actually going to do this well. It was a fun cast of characters. The Liverpudlian and the Irish guy. I mean, I won't know who those two are. I mean,
they're the same person.
The exact same person.
I may call them the things.
Yeah.
I don't know who the fuck they are.
So, and that is a microaggression, right? Mm-hmm. Not being able to differentiate between somebody from Northern England and Ireland, and I apologize for that. But the two of them are just the same person. Aisha's in fine form. We have the Balkan Biscuit aboard. We have Jono, just not giving an absolute fuck. And then we've got Sandy it's gonna be. I'm excited for the season. I thought it was a great first episode. We have an insane provisioner who just will not do their job. I'm gonna give it 79 pots. All right, so let's get into it. The meat is where it all. Hang on. What does she say? She said something about how the med.
Is this Captain Sandy?
No, this is Kermit.
Okay.
She says this is where it all started for me, and you know, Aisha. I was reminded that Aisha has been on our television screens for some time. I mean, the better part of half a decade at this point. And her journey began on the Med. Now, we get this, as with every premiere episode, first day of school, we have to go over the rules and regulations of the year. So we get our little kind of preseason tease, and it looks like we've got a lot of fucking, a lot of sucking, and deceit and treachery, maybe even a lost anchor. Who knows? But we begin with Aisha, who heads to the boat to see Mama and says there are so many dicks on this boat. And then also, I think shits her pants pretty much immediately.
Yeah, I think so. She loves bathroom humor.
Yeah.
Which is odd because...
Patty doesn't like a lady that likes bathroom
well,
humor.
you know. I just... Look, her last residence was a van with a toilet next to the microwave. So I get how it can be jokey with her boyfriend.
I got to tell you, I am in such awe and admiration for these women that stand by men who just live in vans. It's happening all over the country. You know, when you saw the Matt Foley sketch, you didn't think that there was ever someone who was his best friend and partner. But there are women out there who are just driving around this country shitting in buckets. And it's crazy to me. So Sandy is here to support and maybe wash some dishes, she says.
Yep.
Patty, we don't want that, right?
No, we don't.
We don't want time
Stay
share.
out of the galley.
No crew is going to be sleeping in the forward cabin because we've got a leak. And this is where we start to see kind of the jigsaw killer obstacles that are laid out for the sea rats, right? So we're going to have forced quarters. We're going to be understaffed. There's going to be no red wine in all of Greece. This is what we need.
Yeah. I had a different take on it, Dill. That dripping water in that sea rat bunk, it was a refreshing, undramatic issue. Given last season, we had a boat with a stabilizer issue that would print itself randomly, threatening to kill everyone aboard. It was literally a nautical Russian roulette. So, a leak over a sea rat cabin is small potatoes.
No, but I like that happening because it turned the boat into kind of like a universal tram ride experience. And that's fun. You know, people pay a lot of money to go on that tram ride.
Yeah, it happened 3 times.
So we meet Ian. His parents called him Mr. Magoo for some time and then called him Ian. Those two are going to be the source for some pretty good sea rat pain, I think.
Yeah.
I think so. But, you know, it might be one of these things where Mr. Magoo is kind of... The memories are too repressed, so even if they do come out, they might come out with a smile, and we'll have to kind of kink our heads and really examine just how sad it is.
Speaking of heads, Dylan, he's a handsome guy, but old Patty and I don't like to judge, but I think he should keep the hat on.
So, okay.
Also, are we going to go through his sea rat story?
Yeah, something about a river.
Well, his dad... We get his sea rat story right out of the gate. Ian, his dad was a river tour guide. And then Ian took up the mantle to become a river tour guide as well.
Sure.
And Ian, did your dad get eaten by a crocodile?
Right.
Then shut the fuck up.
Well, the crocs kill about 1,000 people a year. So if you are one of the unlucky ones that gets kind of death spiraled by one of these things, they have a bite force of 5,000 psi. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Wow,
a pit bull has a bite force of 400 psi. So I mean, think about what a croc can do to Mr. Magoo's dad.
That sounds like a lot.
But also, you know, I can see one of 2 outcomes with Mr. Magoo's father. 1, eaten by a crocodile. Very likely.
Well, I hope so.
1,000 people a year. Number 2, there were some negligent business practices and some people lost their lives in the white water. Okay. And that's why Son had to take over. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a little bit like, you know, you can evade a lot of punitive measures if you transfer assets to your children, right?
Or put it in a trust, yeah.
Yeah, so like Andrew Mellon, right? He's going to be the Treasury Secretary of the United States. He goes, you know what? I can't have all these assets. I'm going to give them to my brother.
Oh, wow.
You know.
Makes
Look,
sense.
we don't want to get into politics.
Of course.
Okay, so Chef comes on next. He is a culinary architect. Hate that. Absolutely hate that, right? He is a fake it till you make it kind of person. That's what all C-rats are.
Well, also, which
their
is
mantra.
a less blatant way of admitting that you're a liar.
Yeah, right.
I point that out. When you say fake it till you make it, that means you're lying about your credentials. You could kill people.
It's a euphemistic expression for lying. Okay.
Can you imagine you're an airplane pilot at Southwest?
Yeah.
Hey, how'd you get the job? Well, when I first started, I faked it till I made it.
Yeah.
Well, they let you fly the plane.
Yeah.
Jesus fucking Christ.
What I did was, I passed all the tests during COVID, right? So I had the fortune of just being able to Google pretty much each and every answer. When they needed some kind of evidence that I could fly well, I sent them a YouTube video of a flight sim, and here I am flying you guys to Dulles. Okay, so he got into cooking because there was one day where they couldn't open a bag of Captain Crunch and they needed somebody to open it for them.
Well, hold on. That architect firm that he worked for, that he owned,
Yeah.
a project fell through. Next thing you know, he's slicing tomatoes on a fucking C-rat.
Yeah, caprese salad.
That leaves more questions than answers, sir.
Yep.
I don't trust him for 1 minute.
I think we've got a lot of mystery to unfold here throughout this season. The Balkan Biscuit is aboard next. She is she's one to kind of wear like
Nothing.
yeah, more like tiles instead of clothing. It's a cool kind of thing.
Head on over to her Instagram. Her way that she was promoting Below Deck's episode tonight was she was wearing dental floss.
yeah, which is very brave. I mean, I wouldn't wear dental floss if you paid me. Yeah, I don't want to subject people to that.
I want to remind everyone who Ellie is / the Balkan Biscuit.
Yes.
She had a stint of about an episode and a half on either last season or the season prior. She's an absolute delight. Happy to have her here.
Maximum effort person. She wants to be chief stew. This is what we need. We need second stews who are vying for the top spot. Aisha, look out. A Liverpudlian is next, as well as an Irishman. Thing 1, thing 2, they'll room together, and we will understand not a fucking thing. So, another stew hits the boat. Gail, Aussie, as well as Sabrina, a.k.a. Brie, like the cheese. Meetings in the department go off. Brie isn't sure what an ounce is, and Ellie gets second stew.
Well, she doesn't know what an ounce is, therefore she will be enjoying getting some skid marks out of that in that laundry room all day.
Unfortunately for every paying guest, is she's not really sure what anything is. Okay. So that's troublesome. One of the things says finger blasting my butthole before bed, and we get a little bit on Gail.
Now, was this Joe or Nathan? Because he shares that
Pat. No
the
idea.
Things. Well, yes, Dylan, you glossed over it pretty quickly, but it does. We need more time to.
That's a good point.
So, age-old pastime to indulge in, and it's not reading a Tom Clancy novel by the fire.
No,
it's finger banging your own asshole.
Yeah, and Tom Clancy books are not meant to be read by fires. They're meant to be read in middle seats on airplanes.
That's right.
Okay.
I apologize, but I've never heard of the finger banging of your own asshole.
No. Well, I've heard of it. I'm not opposed to. I'm a very clean person, so I'll go pretty much further up than most people do when wiping and or bathing. And this is one of the reasons why my wife and others think I'm possibly gay. But I'll say it again: I'm inspired by men and sexually attracted to women. Okay, so we move on to Gail, who, speaking of attractive women, this is our new Malia, I think. She's got a brother, and she had to be tough because of it.
Oh, yeah. She's a tomboy.
Everyone is single except for the insanely beautiful girl from Australia.
However,
Yes.
We do have a couple guys that, well, they're sea rats, of course, so they don't care about these kind of restrictive moral conundrums that
They
others
see things like loyalty, commitment, and monogamy as imagined fictions that we've conjured up to make sure the orangutan population does not collapse, okay? They do not care one iota about this. They will shove this stuff up their ass like they do their finger, okay? But she's going to be a deckhand, so she's going to be in the snake pit the entire time. Yeah. And she's only been dating this guy for 5 months.
Means nothing.
Means nothing. So provisions are late, and because of the leak, we do not have room to hire a new person. Love this. Nothing short of a narrative device. I mean, one of these producers went in, ripped a I don't know what you call these things, pipe,
drywall,
line, whatever. They ripped it down. They said, "Oh, this isn't going to work." It was sabotage.
To be fair, these yachts are floating Motel 6s. They're dumps.
Yeah.
It's possible that it could have been leaking.
Possible, not likely. It's time to get to the preference sheet. Mayday. I'm not putting the music in. This wasn't a good one.
No. I will say this, starting out with a bang, we have influencers.
Yes.
I always like influencers.
Yep. Influencers are amazing in that they are rewarded for doing nothing. And that's an infuriating profession, you know? I mean, I think that's why some people might not like us, you know, because we're rewarded for essentially doing nothing. What are you doing?
I'm looking for a coffee so we can be influencers in hot products.
Oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We'll put it in. Oh my!
We can't do that. We got to do it baked in.
I know. But listen, I'll pull it up on my phone and we'll talk about tropical smoothie a little bit later. Okay. We are sharing a studio with a rat. Okay, our dear ex-producer Kaylin comes in here and just misplaces everything. It's a small space. I don't know what kind of Joker-like behavior he's trafficking in or why he's doing it, but he is, and our lives are made worse because of it. Okay, so we move on to the...
Well, provisions arrive, some of them.
Some of them at 8:05, sun still in the sky, sunny in it, and we then get to Nathan, thing 2 or 1, having a thick accent, and they show a picture of him with a hometown friend. Did you catch this?
I didn't.
He's talking about how he came from one of the white places.
Okay.
And they show a picture of him with a hometown friend. This is one of those things where I don't know if the editor was on fentanyl. These things happen, especially with Bravo Productions and TLC Productions, where you go, how come you put that in there? Mm-hmm. Right? Because the episode's 54 minutes. It should be 42, so why is that in there?
I agree.
You know?
I glossed over it. It was so unimportant to this podcaster that it just passed by my eyes. I didn't even notice it.
So we get no booze at all, and then we get to a meeting of the minds.
Ah, yes. The goal this season. High level of service.
High level of service. Pressure makes us better. Sandy says, she's a little bit like Jocko Willink in that she says, oh, my arm got ripped off. Good, Oh,
use it.
Yeah. Oh, there's no running water, and there's leaks in the bedroom, and we don't have any alcohol. Good. This is how you fortify diamonds. Okay. The goal is to provide a level of service that will make us money. Okay. The goal is.
I like that.
The goal is not about the money. Okay. It's about providing. She says, respect each other's sexuality. No means no. Sandy, don't be a bummer, okay? We don't want rape. Obviously, we don't want rape. But, let's just cool it with this, okay? Jesus. So, we meet the stars of the season. Ionel, Luca, and Ivan.
Oh, I was going to say, hold on. We got a couple of things. So, no one sleeps very well that night.
Well, no. I'm speaking of the engineers.
Oh, forgive me. The guys we'll never see again.
You're forgiven. Then we hit the sheets, and Aisha is tossing and turning.
All night.
But we wake the next morning. We're starting the vacation off with no booze, and we learn a little bit about thing 1 or thing 2. We learn the story of the Spanish crisis of 2009. I'm not really up to.
I'm Irish, and I don't even know what the fuck they're talking about.
He's talking about Spain. I'm not up on a lot of geopolitical or global events, what with our own country kind of ripping apart at the seams. But I'm really not certain what happened in 2009 in Spain.
Me neither, but I will say...
Did Messi win another Champions League? I mean, what are we talking about?
That was probably it.
Yeah.
Well, Ian, he meets with Sandy for the deck assignments where he talks about the things. And I have to say, this is quite a refreshing start with Ian. Last season's bosun committed identity theft. And for all we know, he's a fugitive running from the law.
Yeah, well, he was an arms dealer. And he was on this boat to scout new ports because they were expanding their operation.
Oh, wow.
He said, I don't want to do what Umami Burger did. I don't want to just pop up on every corner in Los Angeles. We'll oversaturate, okay? I need to do a little R&D. Well, let's get to the next point.
Sure.
Yeah.
So at this point, Kermit has 1 bottle of bubbly. But according to Sandy, so far, so good.
So far, not a disaster. So far, so good.
I don't want to sound like a jackass, but I'm going to have a new segment called Patty Solves Problems.
PSP.
I understand the provisioner is out of wine or giving you the runaround.
Let's hit the pavement, huh?
Let's hit the pavement.
Yeah.
Let's go buy... I don't know. You go buy 5 bottles of bubbly. You might be out of pocket. I don't know, $150.
I mean, knowing the prices of Greece, I mean, it's an economically ravaged land.
And I think they did it to themselves. Didn't want to pay any bills.
Didn't want to pay any bills. Wanted to sit around and suck down ouzo and sun-dried tomato shit all day. I mean, listen. We do have a little bit of a grind problem with our mentality in America, but at least, Anyways, the guests arrive.
You know what? I do know about that 2008. It wasn't between Spain and Ireland. He was referring to the financial crisis of 2008, where a bunch of predatory assholes preyed on people who apparently didn't bother read loan documents.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, you fucked everyone.
Well, listen, a lot of people place import on the victim. And while there is a little onus, you should look over your mortgage deal.
Yeah.
When a coked out, Adderalled out mortgage broker puts in front of you a dream opportunity, you start seeing things with rose-colored glasses.
It goes like this. Hey, I want to live in a mansion. Well, how much do you make a year?
$40,000.
Well, I'm a plumber. I make 40. Great.
Yeah.
Great. What do you say we put a few more zeros behind that number, and soon you'll be living next to J-Lo?
Yeah, 100%.
I'm in.
And what happens is you don't pay the mortgage for the first 3 months, right? And you go, oh, well, what's it going to be after that? They say, don't worry about it. Now, what they forgot to mention is $37,000. And it's a big place. A lot of utilities. It's going to cost around $5,000 a month for water.
You got 2 gardeners.
Yeah, I mean, the lawn was one of the things that kind of hooked you. So that's what happened. But he spoke.
But then you fucked us.
But the financial collapse happened in 2008.
That's right.
So I don't know what he's talking about in 2009, 2010. Maybe there was another Spanish Civil War between Spanish people. So who knows? But anyways. The guests arrive. The content here is going to be silly, says one of them.
That's right.
Hate. Filled with hate already. These poor kids, though, have no rosé. And the jacuzzi looks like the kind of jacuzzi you would see at a trailer park in the Everglades. Okay? It's insane to me that they let these people on this boat with brown water in the bottom of the jacuzzi. I mean, these influencers must have thought they were being punked.
It was silly.
Yeah.
Dill, I do want to point out something, just a minute detail that only someone with a drinking problem would notice.
Okay.
So they had 1 bottle of Champs, right?
Yeah.
There were 7 glasses. They were filled halfway. I happen to know, because I aforementioned drinking problem for a number of years, that a single bottle of Champs wouldn't nearly cover that much glass real estate.
Yeah, and you really bite down on the C and the H when you say that, huh? Mm-hmm. Okay. So the provisioner, though, is here to save the day. They send 7 bottles of, I think, like $6 Prosecco to the boat and cannot source red wine, which is very confusing to me. But we move on. Sandy loves... I'm going to do it again. I'm going to say the English words again. Sandy loves Athens because of the history. Okay.
I have a feeling Sandy may not be that involved this season. I think she's going to be up in that bridge planning her wedding.
Yeah, well, she's got a big proposal coming this season, and it's going to be exciting to see that because we'll care so much about that, right? Mm-hmm. And everyone deserves love, especially lesbians.
Oh, yes.
Some of the coolest, flyest motherfuckers out there. Right.
I agree.
So we get to lunch, lovely, clean Greek fare. We've got chicken, we've got shrimp, we've got tzatziki, and Bree does not know what an iron is. She is one of the TGI Friday people that we have begged for really each and every season. I mentioned it last episode. We need hot people from soft rooms aboard this vessel. The other breed of sea rat that we need is complete incompetence. And I know that the sea rats listen. I apologize for being a little brutal, but Bree does fit into that, under that umbrella. I mean, she has zero clue what's going on.
She does. And she also mentions that she had a housekeeper.
Yes.
Very similar to the Barbie story.
Mm-hmm.
And that explains why she doesn't know how an iron works, or she's scared of taxes and also is afraid of measurements.
And Bree? Who isn't afraid of taxes and measurements? Okay. I mean, you pull out a tape measure. You go,
oh my God.
It's 5.5 inches, but it says that everybody's supposed to be 6. Well, why is it? It's scary to look down at that number and recognize that.
And then you throw the tape measure away.
Yeah, and you buy a new one. And you before you know it, you've bought 7, and you know that this is just the truth. This is just what's going to happen to you. And then don't even get me started on taxes. I mean, that's even scarier. So where do we go next? We take some Machody photos.
So you touched on the lunch. Is there anything else to glean from? It was fine.
Fine.
Okay.
It was elevated food court food.
Okay.
So we get the slide out, and I've got to say, we can't be lugging this thing up flights every time we get this out, right? It seems like a health hazard. Mm-hmm. Like one of these guys is going to pull a vertebrae or it's just too much. Chef is being very cool about having no food.
Yeah, okay, so the lobster hasn't shown up, the queen of sea bugs. And he's creating a dinner menu despite that.
Yeah.
And he doesn't even know if it's going to show up. So At this point, I'm all Jonah right now.
Oh, me too. Mm-hmm. I'm a big fan of Jono. If he was white, I'd say let's just call him Jonah. Mm-hmm. But,
yeah,
I
get it.
Me too. Mm-hmm. So imagine some of the chefs in the past, Pizza Rat, Ben, that drunk we had last time who fell asleep on a bench next to a tub of peanut butter. These guys would be flipping out.
That's right.
But not Jonah. And Jono.
That's right.
So the children jump off the boat, and we get to the guests having 0 things to wear. This is a amazing disaster. We've never seen guests go into the laundry room and sift through clothes that aren't theirs.
Yeah.
That's a first.
Now, to be fair, though, Bree's scared of measuring taxes. She's also afraid of steam.
Yeah.
She thank God she wasn't the guy who invented the steam engine. She wasn't his personal assistant. I think I've invented something that can change the world.
Yeah.
I don't know, boss. It scares me. Maybe you should stick to horses.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, it's 2024. I'm riding a fucking horse. Thanks, Bree.
Yeah, and then Gerald Ford had no opportunity to sympathize with the goddamn Nazis.
See?
But, while she may have been scared of the steam engine in that moment, I would hope that someone with that level of innovation would be more convicted about their invention, because she's like, well, it's scary. And he's like, well, then we can't do anything.
You think so, Bree?
Yeah, and then he just takes a shovel to it or whatever heavy object was around. So Gail's boyfriend, no.
Well, I do want to talk about the guests and their clothes.
Yeah.
They seem to be getting pretty annoyed here, but they kind of contain it. But
Well, they're children.
yeah.
If this was Jill Zarin,
Oh, my God. She would have tried to put a camera in there.
she would have.
By the way, Jill Zarin, you still suck.
Jill Zarin, I love you. So we get to Gail's boyfriend. She's been with him for 5 months. That is just enough time to break this off. Evidently, also just enough time to say I love you to one another. 5 months isn't... I think you can say I love you after 5 months.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Totally fine.
Yeah.
It's these knuckleheads that are on this boat for 6 weeks that start dropping it like it's their last name.
We get to some drink-making content. That was cool. And there's still really nothing on this boat. And because of that, Jono has to call an audible. Thank God for the coolness of this guy and Ellie's fun outfits because, again, there's no liquor on this boat. There's no red wine. There's nothing to keep the children at bay other than jumping off the boat.
Yeah, and it's nighttime, so there's no jumping.
No.
First off, I want a deep discount on this vacation.
Absolutely. Dinner is snapper and mango ceviche, a lovely, clean way to start things off. There was a halved passion fruit adorned at the northwest corner of the plate, depending on your vantage. I was confused about that. I'm not sure how I feel about that as a garnish, because there was no passion fruit in the dish, so I'm a little confused. But never mind that. Provisions arrive in the middle of dinner. They finally got their red wine. Kidding. Ashton Kutcher actually is in Video Village, and you're getting punked. There's no red wine. This is the third provision, I think, that has arrived at this boat, and there is no red wine.
That's right.
This entire country runs on this stuff and has historically run on this stuff for millennia, but they can't find a single ounce of it. Absolutely insane. So the next course is surf and turf, which is an obligatory lazy dish. It's lacking constantly, but what I'll say to Jono is that he really turned it around because usually, it was a blessing and a curse. And that's where Sandy's right. This is how we shine bright like a diamond. You don't have the lobster. So what you're going to do is you're going to innovate like that guy with the steam engine. Uh-huh. He's going to make a crab cake instead of just poaching a lobster tail and throwing it on a plate. And what that birthed was a beautiful twist to a classic and overdone dish. I'd say that he knocked it out of the park this first go. Yeah. Given what he had to overcome, I'm going to give it 81 pods.
Wow. Thank God Bree wasn't in the galley and not afraid of crab. Dill, should we do a read for tropical?
We should, 100%.
Yeah.
It's totally, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So, I want 30% knocked off this vacation so far. You don't have booze on that boat for me. That's 30% of the vacation.
You know what you don't need 30% off at? Tropical Smoothie Cafe. You'll take one sip of their delicious summer mocktail smoothies and you'll go, can I pay more?
Yeah, I want to pay more.
Can I pay more for this? And of course, the fine people at one of the 1,400 plus locations across,
no.
They'll go, no. Enjoy the smoothie, okay? The ingredients of this place, they're unmatched, okay? Mango, mint, strawberries, cranberry, lime, watermelon. I mean, what could be more refreshing in a hot boy summer than one of these delicious drinks?
How about that watermelon mojito?
The watermelon mojito, watermelon mint, strawberries, and lime. You're on Tropic Time now, okay? When you walk into these places, your horizon will expand. Go to one of the over 1,400 locations or use the app with promo code BADTV. You are on Tropic Time now. I mean, listen, go sample them. Tell them Bad TV sent you. When they say, what's that? Take their phone, take their credit card, subscribe them to our Patreon, okay? It's a great company. We're so happy that they're sponsoring the show. Let's get back to the episode.
This is where Ellie begins to question Bree's work experience on these boats.
Sure, yeah.
Ellie shared in her backyard. She was bombed as a child, so that's how she got a pretty good work ethic.
And that's pretty good sea rat sat.
Big time.
Yeah, that's a 4 or a 5, I'd say.
Some planes are dropping bombs on your backyard.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Solid. 3 points.
Because we get a sea rat. Okay, let's compare the sea rat histories, right? So we have embroiled in this kind of age-old conflict of the Soviet Union kind of disbanding and then wanting to get their territory back, I think.
Yeah, that's right.
Or one of the things says, I was a bad kid in school and my sister was a good kid.
Well, how about one of the sea rats last season? He was a fat kid.
Yeah.
Tough shit. Who wasn't?
Tough shit. Have you ever been walking to go get bread that you don't know is there and stepping on
a mortar? You woke up that morning with 2 legs. You're wrapping up the day with 1.
Right, and that is not the Balkan Biscuit story, but she's seen that stuff happen, okay? And that's why she is a tough bitch, okay?
Solid.
That's why she goes
points.
and wakes up the chef when she needs to, but we'll get there in a second. So Ellie is put on service for the children, okay? And children, if you've ever babysat them, their hunger is something that it's a sight to behold. Okay.
That's right. Especially when they're drinking, the children.
Yes. So we'll do Chipotle, then we'll drink, then we'll want more, right? And they do want more. They want nachos, they want grilled cheese, they want all of these things.
Chicken fingers. This is a misstep on these boats. I understand that they can't afford to have a sous chef or someone to do the second shift. You got to understand, when are people most hungry? It's not at 8 o'clock at dinner time. You're going to eat the food because it's in front of you.
Yep.
No. It's when you're fucking 3 deep. That's the best time. It's when food tastes the best. That's why Taco Bell created the 4th meal.
It's the 4th meal.
By the way, if cops really wanted to get a bunch of people arrested for DUIs, just sit outside the drive-thru at a Taco Bell at 1 a.m. Everyone's drunk.
Everyone's drunk trying to get in line to get the new Cheez-It Crunchwrap Supreme. Is it going to be good? Of course not.
No, it's disgusting.
It'll be a tortilla, mildly warmed, with cat food on top of a Cheez-It that's big and wet. How could that be good? It's $6. So she goes in, she wakes up the chef, and Jonah says, get the fuck out of here.
I don't think so.
Yeah. I mean, it was unbelievable. And because of that, the evening turns into a real cat's cradle, okay? The mojitos are late. The nachos aren't happening. We want 7 grilled cheeses. Gail's got a great point. Wouldn't nachos be easier? It's the large format. She goes, no, make the 7 grilled cheeses. The kids are screaming, and she goes back down and says, listen, have you seen the film Twister? It's a little bit like that up there. And Jonah says,
Fuck off.
says, no, I haven't seen that movie. Get out.
I can't believe he said no twice. I hope at the beginning, actually, I don't hope this happens. I hope he says no, fuck off. But it will probably be a tease. Beginning of next episode, she gets him up. He does cook the food. We'll see.
We'll see you next week. Patreon.com/Another Podcast Network. Get ready for Flav. Follow us on Instagram at Another Below Deck Podcast. I'm Dylan Pete Wren on Instagram. He's Patrick Hickey 500. 5 stars, kind words. Let us know what you think about the season, last season. We love to hear you guys there. We'll see you next week. I'm Dylan saying goodbye. Pat, say goodbye.
Later, dudes.